Hello, coaches. Today I want to talk to you about what are beliefs and what you can do to shift them. I remember being quite young when The Secret came out. Remember that movie? It was all about how to manifest your reality, how to shift your limiting beliefs, and yet they didn't actually tell us how to shift or change a belief. In NLP practitioner, that's exactly what we focus on, giving you the tools and the techniques to very quickly change the beliefs using submodalities. I taught this in my NLP practitioner just a couple of nights back. And even as a student, facilitating this process with a fellow student, that student came away with the success of manifesting in 350 or so dollars overnight from shifting her limiting beliefs and then for allowing new energy and new opportunities to come in. Very, 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 very powerful when you have the tools to better understand how to shift a belief. So let's get started. When we even look at the word beliefs, we can see that the word lie is in it because truthfully, a belief is an idea that is true without any facts. When you think about people who have limiting beliefs and people who have abundant beliefs, there are also people who have just that neutral point of view. And so, depending on where you are within manifesting money, manifesting good relationships, if your intuition is pulling you to create that, then you need to take notice of that. The thing that's probably getting in the way is your limiting beliefs. There'll be some energetic barrier that is sabotaging why you don't have the thing that you need or want, I should say. So, beliefs are created in those formative years. Let's pretend that you come into this world completely pure, that baby, that's just this, again, pure blueprint. Now, in my NLP practitioner, we look at past lives, we look at womb work, we look at all of the fun stuff. But for this metaphor, let's say that that little one has come into this world completely pure, like that clean water. Over time, the soul, the person, gets given their name and their identity, their religion or not, their socioeconomic status, all of the things get added and layered on them, a little bit like that magnet drawing in metal. It's sort of like, okay, this is who I am, this is my gender, this is my name, this is how I function, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. And over time, those beliefs may not actually be quite useful. They've come from adults and your caretakers that have given you their experience of life and told you how to function from their point of view. But the question is with NLP, how is that working for you? If it's not working for you, then it's time to jump into NLP coaching to be able to clear those limiting beliefs, to come back to that pure blueprint of who you are, coming back to that truth of your intuition. I know from my own experience of NLP that I was born a natural born medium. Absolutely loved connecting to spirit, felt very at home with the connection of the spirit world. And while I spent many years on stage doing proof of evidence and doing mediumship for others, family did not agree with that. I was doing the woo woo work and they quite belittled it. You know, Claire's doing that weird stuff again. And so, all of their layers, for me to excel in that mediumship world, all of those layers, the judgment, the being small, being critical, being judged, being criticized, had to come away for me to feel that pure energy doing the thing that I absolutely loved and was born to do. So that's just a quick example of how somebody else's limited limitations can be adopted and limit yourself. You got to be careful of that. So as I've already expressed, your limitations, the limiting point of view, do come from early conditioning, life experience, and cultural influences. This is how you survive as a little one by adapting to your caregiver's reality. So your beliefs tell you who you are to others, and who you are in this world. As I've already said, you know, having that identity given to you at birth, you are like that magnet and you like a sponge, like a magnet. You take in your reality, your caregivers, and your caregivers' points of view. that may not be your truth. So with NLP processes, we can demagnify, allowing all of those old limitations, the onion layers to fall away. I don't know, I'm getting there. I'll tell you how to do that. You first need to know what are beliefs. If you're going to shift a belief, you better know what it is that you're moving, right? Beliefs are created by what we consistently expose to. This happened, so it means that. As a quick example there, you know, this happened, so it means that. Mum is yelling, so it means that I have to stay small and out of the way. The belief then is being small equals safety. Or another child's experience, dad is yelling, so it means that I need to be big and strong. Being strong equals safety. And so this is the belief that is formed. This happens, and the mind puts a meaning to it through the filters of the mind. So this happened, so this is the meaning to it, equals the belief. Again, I go to school where people are nice. That means I have friends, and that person will come away with the belief that people are friendly. Versus somebody who's been bullied, I go to school where people are. That means I'm exposed to strangers, and then the belief sets in that people are a threat. Somebody who's got a limiting point of view or a limiting belief that people are a threat will function in this reality with, that sense of fight, flight, always activated, always looking over their shoulder, limiting what they're saying yes to because of fear of judgment, so on and so forth. The list is massive. But the thing to keep in mind with the unconscious is that if this is your limiting belief, if this is your point of view, then you will attract in scenarios to give you evidence that what you think is correct. So it's quite tricky, right? Because it's like, oh gosh, these people are so cruel. And it's sort of like, yeah, but you're actually attracting that based on the belief. Your unconscious mind wants to be correct. And in fact, just another sidestep of an example, in my history, well and truly years ago, I was in a very toxic relationship with a very, very angry man. Getting on the road with him meant that there was road rage, there was just anger, fury, jaw clenching. And yet, when I got on the road, same roads, just he wasn't in the car. It was like driving with Miss Daisy. It was just calm, easy going, easy flow. The difference in the belief system, somebody being angry, the world's against me, he attracted that in, and versus somebody else who's got such a more humble, passive experience of this world. Like, it doesn't have to be so hard. But I digress. So let's look at this belief. I go to school where people are a threat. That means I'm exposed to strangers or bullies. So the belief is people are a threat. All it takes is that one experience, that one root cause in what we in NLP worlds to have that experience, to have that limiting decision where I'm at school, I get bullied, and therefore people are cruel. Of course, you get dropped off to school and you have another bad experience and another bad experience and then another bad experience and then another bad experience. And it just gets reinforced that what you believe to be true, there's evidence of that. This belief now becomes part of your identity. And so you function from that limiting belief. What we can do with NLP is we can help that client go back to the very first experience, the root cause, when they made that limiting decision that people are bullies, I'm not safe in this world, whatever it is, we need to be able to identify what is that limiting belief that's creating such a ripple effect of difficulty, hardship, all the things that come with it. And we can collapse that belief. Once that belief is collapsed, then we can really excel and radiate the positive beliefs that increase your experience of opportunity and the things that you want in this world. Again, this happened, so it means that. Dad is stressed at work, so it means getting money is hard. And of course, that child will take on the belief you have to work hard to get money. Or the opposite. Mum's face lights up when I walk into the room. So it means I'm worthy and special. And the belief there therefore gets installed. I am confident to be me. Keeping in mind your unconscious mind won't differentiate between a limiting belief or a positive belief. Its number one function is to keep you safe. Its number one function is to ensure your survival. So, whatever you've been doing that leads you up to this point in time, it will hold on to because apparently that's the roadmap to ensure your survival. It's not looking for enjoyment, it's not looking for how to live an abundant life, it's looking for your survival. A quick example of that with a client where they came to me with claustrophobia. So, panic being in small spaces, it was getting in the way for him when it came to getting in the lift to get to work. And he would have these hot sweat panic getting into the lift and therefore showing up to work, you know, not looking very professional. It was definitely getting in his way. So when we took him through NLP and hypnosis, we took him back to that root cause of where this limiting decision first came into him, that small spaces equal panic. And we discovered that he had been bullied as a 5-year-old, locked in a cupboard, and his unconscious mind had said, never again will I go in a small space. And so, therefore, that panic attack is now trying to keep him safe. It is now ensuring that he doesn't go willingly into small spaces. The panic attack is its way of keeping that person surviving, basically. So when the unconscious mind was able to travel back and gain new wisdom, gain new learnings about that experience, that person soon discovered that the small space wasn't the problem. It was the lack of parental guidance, it was the lack of caregivers taking notice, it was the bullies that were the problem, not the small space. And with that, the unconscious mind released that anxiety and it released that claustrophobia, causing that person to be able to get into the lift, get to work, and after a couple of weeks or so after that session, got the promotion. So the limitations were not holding them back anymore. They were completely free to, yeah, live their best life. The power of beliefs, right? So again, if you have a belief that it's safe to be small, you will manifest and attract in scenarios to prove that you're correct. If I need to do more to be worthy, you're that people pleaser, being significant, giving means that you're accepted, then again, you're going to continue to attract in the takers and the people that make your world, prove to you that you've got to keep giving. Yeah, it's quite unusual how all of this happens. So when you're able to change what you believe about yourself on the inside, this will have that ripple effect on the experience you have externally. You'll start to notice that you'll attract in things that light you up because you're no longer operating from that limitation. Again, there's that word beliefs with the word lie in the middle. Are your beliefs true? Do you still need to hold your mum's hand when you cross the road, or have you outgrown it? Because previously it was a belief within you, it was a fact, it was a truth, it was a rule that you lived by, perhaps. And it's sort of like, when did you let go of that belief? What other beliefs are holding you back when it comes to money, relationships, your career? Now, here we go. I'm going to show you the steps that we go through in NLP practitioner on how to release a limiting belief. First, you just need to get familiar with what is the difference between associated and disassociated. When you are thinking about limiting beliefs and you think about you in that scenario, again, maybe being bullied at school, does that memory take you back to being associated, like you're looking through your own eyes, you can see that bully in front of you? Or does the memory and the trigger take you back to you've disassociated, you're looking at yourself at what is happening and it's sort of like, whoa, I'm completely out of the body. So when you're working with a client to work out what is the limiting belief and what needs to be changed to, there are 4 main steps to this. First, you want to be able to identify what is the belief that you want to get rid of. And that could be as simple as uh, that I'm bullied in this world. And first, you then need to find the belief that is no longer true. So you may say that it is true that I no longer live in the family home I lived in when I was 5 years old. You may say that I am no longer I'm no longer 5 years old. It's a belief you used to believe when you were five that is no longer true. And then what you need to do is you need to find the belief that is desirable, the belief that you want, the belief that lights you up. And that could be something like I get what I want, I'm really confident, like anything that's pretty much the opposite to the limitations that you're trying to get rid of. And then what you want to do is be able to access a true belief, that universally true belief that could be something like the green light means go, or that the sun will always rise. Universally, people have that belief, like it is so anchored and projected into this reality. So, if you're working with your client, you need to first get into rapport. We know that getting in rapport allows that client to drop down their walls and barriers to be able to look at their vulnerabilities and what's held them back. Now, we then need to be able to help the client identify what is that limiting belief. And, maybe I'm not smart enough because I got told that at school. I'm a failure. I never have what I want. I'm too old. I have to work hard for money. I can't speak up. I fear putting myself out there. Whatever is that limiting belief. And then when you're working with your client, you want to be able to calibrate. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you believe this to be true, that you're not smart? And they will give you a scale, it was like, yeah, absolutely. Number 10, I'm not smart. Like my teacher back then, he told me I was not smart, and I've proven that I'm not smart. That's what it's a 10. We calibrate because it's important for your client to be able to recognize how heavy this experience, this belief is. And when you calibrate at the other end, you get the checked in with the client to say, wow, okay, this belief is now less than that. Like it's completely shifted. So we're calibrating to be able to ensure your client's convincing strategy that a shift has occurred. Now, the next one here, you'll have in your NLP practitioner, you were given a list of submodalities, which I've gone over in previous videos. You need to get your client to access the picture that's associated to that limiting belief. So if the belief is that I am dumb, then in getting your client to think about that picture that represents I am dumb, is the picture black and white or color? Is the picture near or far? Is it bright or dim? Where is the location of that picture? How big is that picture? And we're basically going through the submodalities. So your client is really specific about where this picture is that I am dumb. And then what you're going to do is, as the coach, you're going to write that down on the paperwork that's given to you in training. And you're going to ask your client, are there any sounds that are important to that limiting belief? If they say no, there's no sounds at all, then you skip that step when it comes to submodality belief change. If they do have a sound associated, like, yes, I can still hear that teacher breathing down my neck, you are dumb. It's like, great. Grab hold of that knowing and check in. Where is the location of that sound? Where is it moving? Is it moving internal or external? And therefore, is it loud or is it soft? Is there a weight to it? Is there uniqueness to that sound? When you know what the sound is, you can easily use NLP skills to be able to shrink this down so it doesn't have such an impact on their nervous system. And then the next step here is, where do you feel this limiting belief in your body? Like, is it in your guts? Is it in your head? Like in your fists? Where do you feel this limiting belief of, like, I am dumb? And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a bit of fun with it and check in with that feeling, the location of it, size of it, the shape of it, the intensity, is it hot and cold, getting all of the submodalities. Because as we're building up this conscious awareness of how they're storing the belief, we can then use the power of their mind to shift it. And of course, the last one there, if you're NLP trained, you understand the four submodalities, the four rep systems and submodalities within that. So we're looking at the auditory digital. What do you say to yourself when you think of this limiting belief? I am dumb. So you now have access to all the ways that they are holding on to this limiting belief. You want to break state? which just means to get the client to shift from the trancy kind of state that they were in to a logical state. It'll be like clearing the screen. What's the alphabet backwards? What's the postcode backwards? Can you smell popcorn? What's for dinner? Anything that gets them to come out of that association. And again, we do all of that again with the limiting belief. So think of something that is, oh, sorry, we do that all again with something that's no longer true. The client and you, as the coach, need to articulate, what's a belief like that I'm no longer 5 years old, I no longer live in my childhood home, something that's no longer true from the adult's perspective. And you go over the submodalities again. What's the picture? When you think of, that I'm no longer 5 years old, what's the picture? And you move through all the submodalities again. You want to work through this quite fast. You don't want your client to bring up lots of different pictures. Is it black and white or color? Is it near or far? Is it bright or dim? The location around the body. And you elicit all of the submodalities of how they're storing a belief that is no longer true. Get the auditory, the location of the sound, the weight of the sound. You work out, is there a feeling that is connected to this belief that is no longer true? And then the kinesthetic, the location of the feeling, the knowing that you are no longer 5 years old. Where do you feel that in that body? And the auditory digital again, what do you say to yourself when you think of this belief that's no longer true, that I'm no longer 5 years old? And again, the coach needs to write that down. Lastly, there again, you break state. It's the alphabet backwards, Z, Y. Why are we questioning all of these limitations? We just let them fade away. What's the postcode backwards? What's your phone number backwards? And now you have two lists. You have a list of what they hold to be true at the moment that they are dumb, and you have a list of submodalities of what they hold to be not true. What you want to do is get very clever in your coaching skills to be able to hold on to the picture of I am dumb. And then you're going to ask them to move that picture in their mind. They can do it with their eyes closed to match all of the submodalities that is no longer true. Because we want that belief to be discharged, to be collapsed, to say, like, yeah, no, it's no longer true that I am dumb. So if they had this sort of I am dumb here close to their body and the no longer one is far away, then the instructions are quite simple as you go through the list. Move that picture all the way back, dial it down, take out the noise, whatever is on that list that is no longer true. This is called mapping across. And so we're shifting the neural pathways to again collapse the old way of thinking and to just make that way no longer true. And calibrate. Now thinking about that old belief, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being totally true, what number comes to mind? And we want that, and it's a bit of a quantum linguistics here with the way that I've written it, but we actually want that number to be quite small, that when you think of the old belief, that it's actually no longer true. It doesn't have a grip. Instead of it being a 10, it's like, oh, it's a bit of a nothing. It's a 2, it's a 3. Any shift is fantastic. We don't necessarily need it to be at a 0, but we do want it to shift. And then I said it was a 4-part step to shifting somebody's belief using submodalities. I want to point that out. In Masters, we teach you how to do this conversationally. In Masters, we teach you how to do this quite effortlessly, so it's not so many clunky steps. But at practitioner level, we are going to teach you thoroughly what are the steps, how does the mind work, how do beliefs get stored in our neurology, what has to happen to shift that. So I digress. But when we come back to the process, we've worked through 2 lists, and now we're going to work through 2 more lists. So think of the desired belief, like I am confident. And then you also, you want to think about the opposite. Previously, as I was dumb, now it's I'm confident. And when we go through the picture of I am confident, you can either pick a moment in time when you actually are feeling confident or feeling smart. That moment when you're pouring yourself a coffee and it's like, I feel so confident right now, like the day is mine. Or you can think about your future self where you are already doing the confident things that you want to be doing. Same as before, you need to list out all of the submodalities of the visual to be able to identify what is the picture of you being confident. Color, or is it black and white? Is it near or far, bright or dim, focused or defocused? All of those submodalities. You want to work fast and you want to write it down fast. And then listening out, are there any sounds that are important to this belief that I am confident? And then again, noticing the sounds, loud or soft, duration to that sound, going through the list, writing them down. And the kinesthetic, I'm curious, where do you hold on to this feeling, this knowing, this desire of being confident? Like, oh yeah, my heart space or wherever. And what's the size of that feeling? What's the shape? What's the intensity? Is there any pulse to that? Is it hot or cold? And get your client to consciously become aware of how they store this belief that I am confident. What do you say to yourself when you think I'm confident? And then the coach now has that list, the third list, and you want to break state, the alphabet backwards, the phone number backwards. Again, we're going over that for the fourth time. What is a true belief? That universal belief that's true. Sun will always rise, green traffic lights mean go, the moon impacts the tides, that you are alive. Whatever it is for you that resonates, that you want to work with. And again, elicit the submodalities of the picture that the sun will always rise, elicit the sounds and the knowing that the sun will always rise, the kinesthetic, where is the feeling, that feeling of where the sun will always rise, where is that? What's the shape? What's the intensity? And what do you say to yourself when you think that the sun will always rise? Again, break state, what's for dinner? What are you doing tomorrow? Anything to bring the client back to that conscious aha awareness. And then the last two columns there, the submodalities in the third and the submodalities in the fourth. Think of that desired belief that you want to have. I am confident. And now the coach needs to get the client to hold on to that, yeah, I am confident, and then get them to move that picture and the other submodalities to match the totally true belief. So if the confident one's a little bit over here to the right, bring it up to where the sun will always rise, you know, bring it into the heart space, allow it to expand out. Whatever it was that was totally true, you now want to map across. And at the end, you ask the unconscious mind to lock that into place, let the client breathe, coming back to the room. And you ask that client now, so like this calibration, right? What do you believe now? And hopefully they're saying, like, yeah, actually, I feel really confident. Like, and what are you capable of with this new belief? What is one small step that you can take to prove to yourself that this new belief is locked in place? And of course, you can also say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how confident do you feel right now? And noticing that there's a shift where previously that limitation, the limiting belief that I'm dumb, was overtaking and overruling their existence. That's now out of the way with confidence. What are you capable of? You will notice new opportunities to say yes to that previously you were too small and keeping yourself out of the way to notice. People who have confidence, if this is the belief that you've changed it to, will be willing and ready to have trust in themselves, to take a risk and to give things a go. That's the definition of confidence, with trust. Trust in yourself that no matter what happens, you get yourself back up again and you'll either reap the reward or you'll try again. So the belief change. We've covered a lot in this video, and while there's only so much I can provide here in this video without all the paperwork or doing the demo, anybody who's been NLP trained, hopefully that gives you that refresher on how to get the most out of the submodality belief change. I have done this with clients, and it's just like the amounts of money that come in quite quickly, or the amounts of like inspiration on a project and on a task. It's just like, wow, how can this get any better? If you'd like to join me in my next NLP practitioner training, you are more than welcome. The link is below. I'm Claire Chancellor from Be Your Purpose Coaching, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.